right. Well, I'm going to say it now. Project Hail Mary is probably going to be my movie of the year. I know it's only March, end of March, but man, I had such high expectations for this movie and I was excited to go see it. And it delivered. I mean, it really delivered. So I'm going to talk about it here a little bit. It's going to be spoiler free. I'll tiptoe around a few things, like if you've read the book, because I did read the book. Let me say, I think you're going to be pretty happy with it. If you're a fan of the book, it sticks very close to the structure. There's a few things, like I said, nitpicky wise, I wish they would have expanded upon. But I'll get into that here in a little bit. Let's start with the basic setup. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen the basic setup. Earth's sun is dying, and they discover these small particles that they named the astrophage. It means light eater. That's a one line in the movie. I wish they had spent a little more time with it like they do in the book, but it gets the point across. It's not as important. They notice that there is a star system. Like every star has been infected like slowly, except one star. There's this one star that is not being impacted by it. So they're like, well, why is that? And they said, we don't know. So they get their best and brightest together and they're going to go on a mission. They're going to go out to Tau Ceti and they're going to find out why it's not dying to astrophage like the other stars. And hopefully it can save the Earth's sun, Sol, Earth star. So the movie kind of unfolds like it does in the book. Starts with Ryan Gosling's, Dr. Grace waking up. He has amnesia. He doesn't know where he is or what he's doing. He has a little bit of the understanding of the environment around him. It's a little more detailed in the book, but I think the movie does a fine job because we already know what it is. We already know a lot of it because, we saw a trailer. So that whole thing with him trying to figure out what gravity he's moving under, if he's moving under thrust, or how he figures out this isn't the Earth star, stuff like that. I call the sun the Earth star, so that's going to slip in from time to time. That's all kind of rushed over, but I think it works because we get to the nuts and bolts of the movie, which is really Project Hail Mary itself. This movie's very funny. I mean, there's a lot of humor in it. There are some jokes, of course, in the book. The book, of course, being very optimistic about human potential and what we can accomplish. So they didn't try and change the tone for the movie. It's not bleak or nihilistic or fatalistic. It is just joyful. And, you still got Strahd, who's, a little do as I say, I'm Strahd. She is not quite as hard as she was in the book. They humanize her a bit more, which I think actually kind of works, especially knowing what it's going to build up to, if you've read the book. Or I think it really works. I just absolutely love this movie. I think they covered most of the major events quite well. There's a few events that I wish they would have spent a little more time on to establish the weight of it. It's not a spoiler, but there's a conversation about radiation between the two, between the human and Rocky, and him trying to explain what radiation is to an alien who has no concept of it was pretty cool in the book, and it kind of gets a little rushed over here in the movie, but it's fine. And of course, can't talk about this movie without bringing up Rocky. Rocky's amazing. Practical puppet creature. Absolutely loved it. So much emotion and enthusiasm they got into it. They absolutely knew what they were doing. Rocky is worth the price of admission alone. He and Grace learning to work and talk and communicate together. They take a few liberties with it from the source material, but it overall kind of works for me. I'm not going to lie to you. I really enjoyed it. I think most of the movie works for me, to be quite frank. At 2 hours and 30 minutes, my complaint is that some sequences, like I said, the radiation sequence being one, I wish that had been, sat with a little longer. I wish the movie was, like I said, and this is tough for me to say, but I wish the movie was longer. I'd be very interested in seeing if there's a 3 hours director's cut or something out there where we have a little more time between certain events, because nitpick again, I found the end of the movie kind of moved quickly, right? We just got done stretching this one sequence out and then boom, we're into something else. And then a pretty big deal gets kind of just rushed, talked over, right? So what was a pretty cool sequence in the book becomes almost like a monologue in this one. And it sets up another monologue that sets up the events of the finale. And I was like, oh, that's too fast. You got to slow down. We got to sit with these things. All these things have weight to them. And I should have really been feeling the weight of it. If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about near the end. It all kind of happens super quick. And so I was a little bummed with that, but like I said, it's a movie. You're asking people to sit there for 2.5 hours. You want to get to the ending. You want to have them going out the door. If you've read the book, the ending is pretty much exactly the one from the book, which I'm quite pleased with because I actually think it's one of my favorite endings to almost any story, not just sci-fi or anything. It's a really good ending, and I was quite pleased with it. Minor spoiler to the book readers, there is no me burgers. Unfortunately, no me burgers. But That's okay. I don't really have anything else to say about this movie. I really liked it. I'm glad I saw it. I probably won't see it again in theaters because, well, these things come to like 4Ks and, the home theater so fast, but I will be watching it again. Hopefully a bunch of my friends can see it. Maybe we'll do like a Decadent or something like that and really dig a little bit more into what works for us, what doesn't work for us. But I think this is going to be overall positive. A lot of human elements to this movie, a lot of emotional elements to this movie. Ryan Gosling's fantastic. The Puppeteer team's fantastic. Lord and Miller, they had a deft hand on the wheel. Drew Goddard, Andy Weir, fantastic. These people knew exactly what they were doing, and they've produced not just my favorite movie of the year. I'm going to go ahead, like I said, I'm calling it. It's going to be my favorite movie of the year. But I think it's going to be probably one of my all-time favorites. How does it compare against The Martian? I like this a little more than The Martian, but The Martian is really, truly about human exceptionalism, so that was pretty cool, too. But that's really all I got on this. Did you see the movie? What'd you think? I loved it. I absolutely loved it, if you couldn't tell, and by the fact I've repeated it. I'm just buzzing. I really had a good time at the cinema watching this thing. Let me know what you thought about Project Hail Mary, and thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.